Listen carefully, because what you're about to hear will irritate a lot of people. Not because it's hateful, not because it's anti-woman, but because it exposes a pattern that works best when men don't notice it. There is a psychological mechanism that has been shaping male behavior for a very long time. It keeps working for one simple reason. Most men misunderstand what's happening while it's happening. They think they're feeling love. They think they're feeling chemistry. They think they're feeling fate. And sometimes it is. But very often, what they're really feeling is something far more basic. A reward system being triggered in their brain, on and off, like a switch. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A woman doesn't create obsession by treating you well. She creates obsession by treating you inconsistently. Sit with that for a second. Don't rush past it. Let it land properly. Think about the woman who treats you consistently well. She answers. She shows up. She's kind. She's warm. She's steady. You probably feel comfortable with her. You might even feel grateful. You may respect her. You may like her a lot. But are you obsessed? Are you checking your phone every few minutes like it's an oxygen mask? Are you replaying every conversation at night, looking for hidden meaning? Are you analyzing her tone like you're decoding a secret message? Are you restless, distracted, and emotionally hijacked? Usually not. Now think about the other type. The woman who is hot one day and cold the next. The one who sends you paragraphs on Monday and one-word replies on Thursday. The one who is affectionate when you're together, then disappears for days afterward. The one who makes you feel chosen, then makes you feel invisible. The one who pulls you close and then suddenly acts like you don't exist. That woman doesn't just get your attention, she gets inside your mind. And the most dangerous part is this: it often doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like you're trying harder because you care. It feels like you're fighting for something real. It feels like you're not giving up. But what's really happening is that your brain is getting trained. Psychology has a name for this mechanism. It's called intermittent reinforcement, and it is one of the most addictive patterns the human nervous system can experience. It's the same core principle behind gambling addiction. It's why slot machines keep people pulling the lever. It's why social media keeps people refreshing the feed. It's why unpredictability is more addictive than consistency. When a reward is consistent, your brain adapts. It becomes normal. Like a paycheck you expect every 2 weeks. You appreciate it, but it doesn't control you. You don't obsess over it because it's stable. But when a reward becomes unpredictable, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Your brain goes into overdrive. It starts scanning, guessing, calculating, searching for patterns. It becomes hyper-focused because it believes the next hit could happen at any moment. The uncertainty keeps your system activated. That's the trap. When a woman gives you warmth, affection, attention, your brain releases dopamine. You feel good. You feel seen. You feel powerful. You feel like something is finally clicking. Then she withdraws. She goes cold. She goes distant. She becomes busy. She starts replying like you're an inconvenience. And you don't simply return to neutral. You drop below neutral. You feel uneasy. You feel restless. You feel rejected. Your mind starts asking questions that don't have answers. What changed? What did I do? Did I say something wrong? Did I come off too eager? Did she meet someone else? Should I text? Should I wait? Should I try harder? Should I pull back? Should I apologize? For what? And here's how you get hooked. Your brain starts believing that the only way to feel normal again is to get back the warmth she gave you before. That's how chasing begins. Not because you're weak, not because you're stupid, not because you're too emotional, but because your reward system is being yanked around. Once the chasing begins, everything shifts. You text more. You over-explain. You become more available. You start accepting behavior that you would never tolerate from anyone else. You compromise your standards. You swallow disrespect. You pretend you're fine when you're not. You become easy to steer. And this is why inconsistency can feel more powerful than kindness. Kindness makes you calm. Inconsistency makes you addicted. Now, to be fair, not every woman does this intentionally. Many aren't sitting there plotting. Many aren't thinking, how do I mess with him today? For some, it's instinct. For some, it's learned behavior. For some, it's emotional immaturity. For some, it's simply that they've noticed something over time. The men they treat steadily often relax, while the men they treat unpredictably become obsessed. So the pattern continues, whether she understands it or not. Warmth, then withdrawal. Closeness, then distance. Hope, then confusion. Reward, then scarcity. And if you don't recognize it for what it is, it controls you. So let's make it concrete. Let's strip the fog away and look at how this pattern shows up in real life. Because once you see the structure, you start spotting it everywhere. The first form is the hot-cold cycle. 1 week she's fully engaged. She's texting, making plans, asking questions, acting like you matter. The energy feels alive. It feels mutual. You start relaxing into it. You start thinking, finally, something real. Then suddenly, it flips. Replies get short. Warmth disappears. I'm busy. I've got a lot going on. The tone changes. She's still there, but she's not there. And there's no clear reason, no explanation, no closure, just a shift. That shift creates confusion, and confusion creates attachment. Your brain hates loose ends. It wants resolution. It wants to restore the previous state. So you chase. The second form is strategic unavailability. You have a great date, a strong night, real connection, real chemistry, maybe physical intimacy. You feel bonded. You feel like something deep happened. Then afterward, she becomes a ghost. Hours pass. Days pass. She's suddenly too busy to send a simple message. You start doubting yourself. Did I misread it? Did I do too much? Did I say something wrong? Was it fake? Was I just entertainment? That panic drives you to fix something you can't even define, and that urge to fix is exactly what keeps you invested. The third form is emotional withdrawal. You open up. You share something real. You show vulnerability. She responds positively in the moment. You feel close. You think, this is depth. This is real. The next time you talk, it's like the intimacy never happened. She resets to surface level. No follow-up, no reference, no continuation. It's as if your openness vanished into a void. So your mind starts questioning, did that moment matter to her? Was I the only one who felt it? Was I foolish for opening up? And now you try twice as hard to get back to that depth, because your brain has labeled it as the reward. The fourth form is the attention drought. After making you feel special, she redirects her attention elsewhere. She's active online, posting, visible, social, but you get crumbs. She's busy for you specifically. Her world is moving, but your place in it shrinks. Scarcity makes her attention feel more valuable. Your mind starts competing, even if she never says you're competing. You start trying to win back what you had, and that chase becomes the point. The fifth form is the comparison trigger. She casually mentions other men, not screaming it, not obvious jealousy games, just subtle mentions that create a background noise of competition. This guy at work is hilarious. Someone asked me out. My friend tried to set me up. Even a small hint of competition wakes up male instincts. Now you're not just trying to build connection, you're trying to secure position, to beat unseen rivals, to prove you're the best option. And the sixth form is the mixed message. She says one thing, but does another. I really like you, then flakes. You matter to me, then disappears. I want this to work, then puts in no effort. The mismatch between words and actions creates constant ambiguity, and ambiguity is gasoline for obsession. All these forms share one core ingredient: uncertainty. Uncertainty is like a drug to the human brain. Your mind will obsess endlessly trying to resolve it. It will create theories. It will scan for clues. It will relive conversations. It will overinterpret details. It will try to force certainty where none exists. And that's exactly why this pattern is so effective. It turns your mind into a machine that works for her, even when she's not present. This is also why you sometimes see successful, confident men lose their minds over women who treat them poorly. It's not because those women are special. It's because those men are reacting to a psychological mechanism they don't understand. They believe they're experiencing love. Often they're experiencing addiction to unpredictability. Meanwhile, the woman who is steady, loyal, supportive, she can get taken for granted. Not because she's boring, but because the reward is stable. And stability doesn't spike dopamine the same way chaos does. That's the brutal part of human psychology. People often chase uncertainty and undervalue certainty. Now here's the part that actually matters. What do you do about it? Understanding the pattern is not enough. You can understand a trap and still walk straight into it if you don't change how you respond. The first step is recognition. Stop making excuses for inconsistency. Stop calling it mysterious. Stop calling it complex. Stop calling it, maybe she's just busy. Sometimes people are busy, but patterns don't lie. If the cycle repeats, warmth, withdrawal, then it's not random. Name it internally. Call it what it is. Intermittent reinforcement. Unpredictable reward. A loop that creates obsession. Once you name it, it loses a portion of its power because you're no longer hypnotized by it. You can't be unconsciously controlled by something you're consciously observing. The second step is discipline when she withdraws. When she goes cold, when she gets distant, when she pulls away, do nothing. No panic texts. No, "Are you okay?" No emotional negotiations. No long paragraphs. No attempts to restore the vibe. No begging for clarity. Nothing. Because the moment you chase, you feed the mechanism. The entire pattern is designed to produce your pursuit. Your pursuit is the payoff. Most men fail here. The silence hits, and they rush to fill it. They rush to soothe their anxiety. They rush to reclaim the warmth. And in doing so, they hand over control. Discipline means allowing the space to exist without reacting like a prisoner. It means letting her absence be her choice without turning it into your emergency. The third step is proportional energy. Never exceed her investment. If she is slow, you are slow. If she is distant, you are distant. If she is inconsistent, you stop pouring steady effort into an unstable situation. This isn't about revenge. It's not about playing games. It's about refusing to overinvest in someone who underinvests in you. It's about protecting your emotional resources. If her effort is low, your effort stays low. If her effort rises consistently, your effort can rise too. The fourth step is building a life that doesn't depend on her mood. A man becomes vulnerable to this pattern when a woman becomes his primary source of dopamine, his main emotional excitement, his main validation, his main sense of movement. That's why the healthiest protection is a full life. Work, purpose, progress, fitness, friends, goals. A schedule that doesn't collapse because one person went quiet. A mind that isn't waiting. When your life is full, her withdrawal doesn't feel like starvation. It feels like space, and you stop negotiating with crumbs. The fifth step is boundaries. Real ones. Not angry threats, not emotional speeches, clear standards that you actually enforce. Consistency is not a luxury. It's basic respect. Communication is not a bonus. It's the foundation of trust. Effort is not something you beg for. It's something you observe. If inconsistency is a deal breaker for you, then treat it like one. Because the moment you tolerate unstable behavior, you teach someone how to treat you. Here's what happens when you apply these steps. One of two outcomes appears. Either she senses the pattern is no longer working, because you're not reacting, and she becomes more consistent. This is rare, but possible. Or she moves on to find someone easier to control. This is common, and this is where many men collapse, because they fear outcome number two. But outcome number two is not a loss. It's a filter. If someone only wants you, when they can keep you anxious, confused, and chasing, then they don't want you. They want control. They want attention. They want a nervous system they can pull like a lever. A healthy woman doesn't need unpredictability to keep your interest. She builds connection through respect, clarity, and consistency. She doesn't create obsession through confusion. She creates trust through stability. And yes, emotionally mature women exist. Women who communicate directly. Women who don't play with attention. Women who don't treat closeness like a weapon. Women who don't punish you with silence. But you will never find that kind of relationship if you keep burning your energy on a woman who has you trapped in an addiction loop. Because here's the final truth. Obsession is not proof of love. Obsession is often proof of uncertainty. When you stop chasing unpredictability, the spell breaks. Your mind becomes quiet again. Your self-respect returns. Your attention comes back to your own life. And suddenly, you can see clearly. You can see whether she's truly invested. You can see whether she respects you. You can see whether her presence brings peace or anxiety. You can see whether you're building something real or just chasing a moving target. So if you recognize this pattern in your own life, take it seriously. Not with anger, with clarity. Don't argue with inconsistency. Don't negotiate with withdrawal. Don't beg for the version of her that appears only when she feels like it. Watch what repeats. Watch what stays consistent. Watch what you feel in your body after interacting with her. Calm or chaos. Clarity or confusion. Confidence or anxiety. And make your decision from there. Because once you understand how obsession is manufactured, you stop confusing addiction for connection. And once you stop confusing those two, you stop being controlled by people who thrive on your uncertainty. That's the lesson. Not to hate women, not to fear women, not to play games, but to recognize the difference between real interest and psychological hooking, and to choose relationships that build you, not ones that drain you.